Welcome to another podcast. Today, we're talking about the Emperor's New Clothes conspiracy. We're going to focus for a couple of weeks here on abstract art conspiracies and see how that goes. I don't know how the other one went yet because it's not out yet, so I'm hoping you enjoy these. If you do, please let me know so I can continue to do them. So this theory says that there are people who are pretentious intellectuals, and they think that by saying that something's important, they can control that something's important. So it's a whole thing where they're trying to fool you into thinking something's important even though it's really not. And it's basically to keep some kind of elitism involved. So they want to make sure that they're the elite and they understand what's going on. You don't. You can't comprehend it. You can't enter into their world. They're gatekeepers and they decide what's good and what's not. You have no say over it. The theory also claims that abstract art in and of itself contains no actual value. It's just a value that's artificially implemented because other people are telling you that it's worth something. So the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that people say the art itself is not worth anything. It's just the perceived value that they're trying to impose on you, but it really has no artistic value at all. Now, I know that abstract art challenges any kind of mainstream idea, so-called mainstream idea. It really doesn't. It uses all the same principles as standard art, as a normal art would. You have composition, you have contrast. When I talk to you about this stuff, I'm talking about the kind of art that I do, the kind of art that I like, not just where someone's flinging paint on a page. I mean something where someone's actually intentionally developing something, giving it form and texture. They're using the same principles. They are using the structure, the same kind of composition that needs to be taken place, that draws you into a piece and doesn't send you off the edge of the page, and looks nice and balanced, and contrast that brings things out and pushes other things back and creates little areas of interest, and really fine detail that pulls you into one area and some not fine detail that allows you to go into that other area with the fine detail. There's all those things are still present in the kind of art that I like, the kind of abstract art that I'm talking about. So do I say that there's no value at all? Absolutely not. There is value because there's skill there. And if there's skill there and you have to develop those skills, there's value there. And I would argue that the person observing the art has to actually connect with it on a deeper level than if it was something, and I've mentioned this before, but then it was something that they actually recognize that they like a giraffe or a horse or a landscape or a potted plant or something like that. Instead, it has to connect with them and grip them. So if it can grip them and gain their attention, it penetrates much deeper than a subject that they already have an emotional connection to. Abstract art is not just meaningless. It's actually a conscious exploration. And I'm not trying to recycle all arguments from the other one. What I'm saying is, it's not just useless information. It's just not, it's just whatever they do. It's actually artistic experimentation and developing concepts far beyond what you can on actual objects. But it's deliberate exploration of those things. It's intentional. The person is actually studying how to make this look better, how to make it more interesting, how to get better in depth with it and connect with their audience better with it. I am not one for saying, here's a rock on a page and the page is 3 feet by 20 feet long and it's just a single red rock. And there's meaning behind it. I don't go into all that. That's not my art. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean the kind of stuff that I do. I might have to flash something up here, but you're listening to this and you're not watching it, then that means nothing to you. But if you know anything about my art, I'm saying something that kind of grips you and is interesting to look at. There's something there to grab onto. There's details there. Your brain's trying to figure it out. It's struggling because it thinks it maybe sees a shape that it recognizes, but no, it's not it. It's not what it is. It's something else. It's not a thing at all. It's just something else. And abstract art does something, it does the same thing as regular art. If you just look at it, it invites you to draw your own story from it. You don't know what it is. Maybe it's some weird creature from another planet. Maybe it's a weird landscape from another planet. Maybe it's from a different dimension and it's just that's how their plant life looks. You have no idea. So instead of seeing a baby elephant that's walking to a river and trying to create a story with it in your mind, which is what you do when you see art. You see a picture or any kind of photograph even. Your mind starts creating an image and a story that goes along with it. It's the same thing with the abstract art. The really interesting, creative abstract art that I'm talking about. You know, the thing that I find very interesting is whenever you see a logo of a company or something, they pay a lot of money for that logo that kind of draws you into the logo. But the logo many times is nothing. It's just an abstract thing that draws people's attention to it. And certain lines and shapes and compositions will draw you into it. And that's basically what they're doing with it. So to say that it has no value does not make any sense. So abstract art isn't like a hoax. It's not something that someone created as an elitist thing. At least that's not how I look at it. It's something that holds value, just like traditional art. And I love traditional art. I've said it many times. Rembrandt, Sargent, some of my favorite artists. I can look at Rembrandt paintings forever, and I've seen them many times, and I can just stare at them forever because of the shadow and the light and how they do it. And I picture in my mind, that's how they actually saw the thing. There was no lights on. They had the person in the room with a candle. And that was it. There's a couple candles around. It's dark. It's nighttime. There's no lights for them to turn on. There's no big soft boxes to glow on the people. This is how they saw the people in the candlelight. And they were able to paint it. It's beautiful. I love it. At the same time, these are ideas that we're seeing in our head, that we're putting down on paper for other people to look at and enjoy, and there's value there. It's seeing something from our perspective that doesn't even exist that you can also get excited about. So next time you walk in somewhere and you're picking out bed sheets or you're picking out something else for your home and you see this abstract thing on it that you don't know what it is, but you like the way it looks and you would like to see it in your house, I want you to relate that to the abstract art that we're creating, that we try to pour everything we can into it to make it exciting for you to look at, to draw your interest, to give you some details, maybe make different shapes that you're not used to seeing and different ways that maybe look like something, but they're not really something. And that's how I want you to see it. Okay, so this is Future Pete coming back into this video. I realize I addressed the value thing. I didn't really address, the elitism thing that much. Let me explain. I'm not saying I can hear the comments already being typed. Everybody's freaking out. They're Kermit the Frog and all over the place. Here's the thing. I'm not saying that there are not elitist people who think that they are gatekeepers for art. That they are the only ones that understand what art is, that they have formed a secret club that you're not allowed into, and that's just what they do. What I'm saying is that doesn't represent the bulk of abstract art. It's just that little group. And let me tell you, they do this with more than just art. It's done with music. It's done with fashion. Have you ever seen those people that walk up and down a catwalk at a fashion show? Lady Gaga was looking at them like, what the hell is that? I'm telling you, they don't even know what they're doing. They just form their little club. They say that they know what fashion is. No one walks around the street with that crap. You couldn't even get in your car wearing some of that bulky crap. That's not what it is. And yet there are people who are designing clothes that we wear, like this shirt. Someone designed this shirt, I'm wearing it. It wasn't done by some elitist that's on some catwalk somewhere. It was just done. And that's what art is. Art, abstract art, all different kinds of art. There's a bulk of people now that used to be you have to know someone to get in a gallery. You don't need that anymore. You do this. This is what I do. You could do it too. You put it online. You talk to people. You create interest around your own art and you share their art. And that's just, you build a community that way. You don't need those people anymore. So that's not what abstract art is. It's just a very small group of people. They did it back in the day too. They did it with all the other art that they said, you know, the Fauvism and thisism and thatism. They did the same thing. They said, oh, we know what good art is, and it's going to cost $1.2 million for this piece here. It's a 4x4 square of a painting of my mother. But what really, it's not like that anymore. It's not just some elitism thing that people do. It's regular artists like me and you. I'm not in the club. This is my submission video to be in the club, but I'm not in the club. I'm not a part of that. I would love to sell one of my pieces for $1 million. If you want to do that, I have plenty. I'll give you more than one, as a matter of fact. I have plenty up on my shelf. But I'm saying artists don't need to be in that group. It's not an elitist thing. It's not how it works. It's everyday people creating art and sharing it and enjoying it. And people, companies buy it. There are artists all the time. They make a full-time living. They do abstract art. They create diary covers and sometimes book covers and sometimes cartoons and kind of weird things. And they're abstract. I'm not talking about high-level stuff here. This is just abstract art sometimes that people create. It gets into things, TV shows, logos, companies want it. It gets put on the internet, is all over the place with abstract art. You can't go on a website without seeing a design or a pattern that someone created. It's just, that's how it is now. So what I'm saying about this whole conspiracy thing is it's not always what you think it is. It's not that myth, that theory, that conspiracy of, oh, this is why this happened. It's not that way anymore. Me and you create it. That's who does it. So thumbs up the video if you're going to go and notice all the abstract stuff that's in your life, all the different logos, all the stuff at the stores, all the stuff on the things that you love to get, and you're going to say, oh, what the heck is that little Nike swoosh? Does anybody know what that is? I don't. I'm sure someone know-it-all is going to post it down there. They know what it is. But I'm just saying it's recognizable, it's marketable, and that's why they do it. All right, that's enough for me. I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Illustrate.